Biological pest control methods that actually work and why I love using them. If you have ever watched a garden get eaten overnight by aphids or had your tomato plants turn into an all-you-can-eat buffet for hornworms, you already know the frustration I'm talking about. Chemical sprays can feel like the fast fix, but I started leaning into biological pest control methods a few years ago, and honestly, I have not looked back. It is slower sometimes, but it feels better, and the results are surprisingly solid once you get the hang of it. So what is biological pest control really? At its core, it is just using living things to manage other living things that we call pests. Nature has been doing this for millions of years. We are just paying attention and giving the good guys a little boost. Think of it as recruiting a tiny security team for your plants that works 24 hours a day and does not ask for overtime. Let me walk you through the main approaches I use and have seen work in real backyards, farms, and even balcony gardens. No lab coat required and no chemical smell lingering on your basil. The classic approach is bringing in the beneficial insects. This is the one most people picture when they hear biological pest control, and for good reason. Ladybugs are the celebrities here, and yes, they really do crush aphids like it is their job, because it is. I release a few hundred in my garden every spring right at dusk, so they settle in overnight instead of flying off to your neighbor's yard. The trick is to mist the plants first so they have water and stick around, but ladybugs are just the start. Lacewing larvae are even more ferocious, and they look like tiny alligators with an attitude. One lacewing larva can eat 200 aphids in a week. I think they are underrated because the adults are delicate and green and nobody notices them. Parasitic wasps are another favorite of mine. They are tiny and most of them do not sting people. They lay eggs inside caterpillars or aphid bodies, and nature takes care of the rest. It sounds brutal, but it is exactly what happens in a healthy ecosystem without us. If you are dealing with soil pests, do not forget about beneficial nematodes. These microscopic worms hunt down grubs, cutworms, and fungus gnat larvae underground. You just mix them with water and drench the soil. I do this twice. I do this twice a year, and my lawn has never been happier. You cannot see them working, which feels like magic, but the drop in root damage is very real. Why I prefer predators and parasites over sprays. The biggest win for me is that the system becomes self-regulating. Once you build a habitat that supports these helpers, they stick around and reproduce. That means less work for me next season. With chemical sprays, I felt like I was on a treadmill, spraying every 2 weeks and worrying about resistance. Pests bounce back fast, but a well-fed ladybug population does not take a day off. There is also the peace of mind factor. I grow food my kids pick straight from the plant. I do not want to second guess whether I washed the strawberries well enough. When the pest control is a bird or a beetle, I feel better about it. Plus, I have noticed way more pollinators since I stopped blanket spraying. My zucchini yields went up the same year I switched, which was a nice surprise. Microbes are the unsung heroes of pest control beyond bugs. There is a whole world of bacteria, fungi, and viruses that only target specific pests. Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT, is the one I reach for when cabbage worms show up. It is a naturally occurring soil bacterium that makes proteins toxic to certain caterpillar guts, but does nothing to humans, pets, or bees. I mix it in a sprayer and hit the undersides of leaves where the worms hide. Within a couple days, they stop feeding. There are also fungal solutions like Beauveria bassiana, which infects and kills whiteflies, thrips, and aphids. I use it in the greenhouse where humidity helps it spread. It feels weird to spray a fungus on purpose, but it works, and it is approved for organic growing. The key is to apply it in the evening so UV light does not break it down too fast. Trap crops and companion planting as a support act. This part is less about releasing a predator and more about being strategic with what you plant. I always grow a few nasturtiums at the edge of my veggie bed. Aphids love them more than they love my peppers, so the nasturtiums act like a decoy. Once the aphids cluster there, I can hit that one plant with a strong blast of water or let the ladybugs feast. It keeps the main crop cleaner. Marigolds, dill, and fennel are also workhorses in my garden because they feed adult beneficial insects. The adult lacewings and parasitic wasps need nectar and pollen to lay more eggs. If you only have pests and no food for the good guys, they will leave. So I interplant these flowers everywhere. It looks pretty and it functions like a bed and breakfast for pest control. What about bigger critters? Birds, bats, and even frogs are part of the biological control picture too. I put up a small bat house 2 years ago and my mosquito problem dropped noticeably. Chickens in the orchard are fantastic for scratching up codling moth pupae and eating fallen fruit before pests can complete their life cycle. You have to manage them so they do not destroy your seedlings, but the trade-off is worth it. How to actually get started without getting overwhelmed? My advice is to start with one pest and one solution. If aphids are your nemesis, try lacewing eggs first. They are cheap. You can order them online and they cover more ground than adult ladybugs. Release them when you first see aphids instead of waiting for an infestation. Biological control works best as prevention, not as emergency room treatment. Next, build habitat. Leave a small wild corner with leaf litter logs and native flowering plants. Do not clean up everything in the fall. Many beneficial insects overwinter in that debris. I used to be obsessed with a tidy garden until I realized I was evicting my free labor. Be patient for a week or two. The first time I tried this, I panicked on day 3 because I still saw aphids. By day 10, the lacewing larvae had hatched and the balance tipped fast. Nature does not work on Amazon Prime speed, but it is thorough. A few mistakes I made so you can skip them. I once released ladybugs in the middle of a sunny afternoon. They all flew away in an hour. Dusk and moisture are key. I also learned not to use soap sprays or neem oil right before or after releasing beneficials. Even organic sprays can kill them if you must spot treat and wait a few days before adding your insect allies. Another big one is expecting one species to solve everything. A healthy system uses layers. Nematodes for the soil BT for caterpillars, lacewings for soft-bodied pests, and birds for the rest. Think of it as a diverse investment portfolio, but for your garden. The payoff is more than just fewer holes in your leaves. Since switching to biological pest control methods, I spend less money on products and more time actually enjoying the garden. I see more butterflies, dragonflies, and hummingbirds. The soil feels better because I am not nuking the microbiome every other week. And I love telling friends that the wasps in my garden are the good kind. Is it perfect every time? No. Some years, the cucumber beetles still win around, but the damage is less and the rebound is faster because the system is resilient. I would rather work with nature than wage war on it. If you are curious, give it a try on one bed or even a few potted plants. Watch what shows up when you stop reaching for the spray bottle. You might be surprised how much help is already waiting around you. And if you already use biological pest control, I would love to hear what works in your space. Every garden teaches me something new, and the bugs are usually the ones doing the teaching.